Something I've been meaning to do for a while, I finally got around to writing a backstory to my Star Citizen character. I'm not really big into the roleplay scene, nor am I particularly well versed in Star Citizen lore, but with Squadron 42 on the horizon, I've known for a while that I wanted to be able to articulate who my Star Citizen character will be, a persona that explains some of the stuff that I'm interested in doing in-game, and perhaps an interesting topic for a video. I suppose you can be the judge of that. I'm Farrister, or should I say, this is Thomas Farrister, my Star Citizen character. Regular viewers of the channel will have seen him sat on various chairs staring into space, or looking around the cockpit of a ship being reviewed. This video will share some background to the character, which hopefully gives a little more personality. Before diving into things, however, a quick caveat. This backstory is inspired by Star Citizen lore, and I've tried to make it as accurate as possible to the lore available, but it's not official, and there may be discrepancies. If you see any, be sure to point them out. I'm also honoured to have a guest speaker introducing some of this backstory, and to uphold their credibility, it's important I point out once again, this is not official, not canon, just an amateur's attempt at weaving a story into the fabric of this interesting game. That out of the way, Thomas Farrister. Born in 2914 on New Babbage on Microtech in the Stanton system, Thomas was the youngest of 3 sons. The Farrister family had moved to Stanton 4 in the late 2860s, with Thomas's grandfather founding Eastmarch Computing, a foundling company specializing in server hardware and software. Eastmarch Computing quickly grew into a large corporation, leaning into a growing demand for computing power and synergizing with the suitable climate aboard Microtech to minimize costs. As a result, Thomas was raised in a relatively wealthy environment and had access to all manner of technology, enjoying tinkering and engineering type disciplines from an early age. Thomas also had access to his grandfather's Origin 325A, in which he first learned to fly and kindled a lifelong passion for spaceflight. These 2 interests, starship engineering and piloting, led to one natural conclusion.
In 2035, the young Farrister enlisted in the UEE Navy at the age of 21, setting out to build a military career. During his time at MacArthur, his background identified him as a strong candidate for engineering-type roles, resulting in his first posting to the UES Scimitar in May 2936. In 2937, the newly promoted Lieutenant Junior Grade Farrister was transferred to the engineering department of the UES Hadrian. During fleet review in 2939, a UEN admiral was said to be so impressed with the young officer that Farrister was reassigned to become their flag lieutenant aboard the UES Barbary. It was during this posting that Lieutenant Farrister was encouraged to apply to the Naval Flight Academy, which he attended in late 2940. This represented a return to MacArthur. After completing combat pilot training and operational conversion to the P-5G Gladius light fighter, Lieutenant Farrister was posted to the 5th Fleet. While with the 5th Fleet, one pilot commented that Farrister flew with, quote, mojo, unquote. Before another added, quote, but he's still a wrench monkey, unquote, resulting in the pilot call sign Mojo Monkey. In 2943, he was promoted to Lieutenant Commander with flight instructor responsibilities within the 5th Fleet.
In 2944, he attended the Naval College at MacArthur, and during this time learned of the Vandal attacks on the Oracle system in recent years, and the seeming lack of any official UEE response. Horrified by these events, he reached out to the United Space Confederation to offer support, officially enlisting on the 21st of August 2944. By the way, this is my Star Citizen org, and I've also tried to weave my backstory into the organisation lore too. To save it time, I'll call it the USC from now on. Whilst posted in Killian at the Naval College, a rare opportunity arose where the UEE Navy sold off some aged Javelin-class destroyers. And so, having made arrangements to sell off much of his Eastmarch computing stock, on the 30th of November 2944, Thomas purchased one such destroyer for operations to support the USC, which had lost most of its fleet in defense of Oracle. Sadly, the newly acquired destroyer required extensive works, and so having used some of his naval connections to lift restrictions on civilian contractors, Farrister arranged for it to remain docked in the shipyards at Killian for a complete overhaul and refit.
Having completed Naval College, Lieutenant Commander Farrister was put on an XO development track, returning to the 5th Fleet to qualify in key command roles across comms, navigation, and warship tactical combat.
During this time, he also increased his participation to help the fledgling USC rebuild, offering his naval and engineering experience to support the Aerospace Engineering Department in 2945 and proposing the formal formation of a USC Navy in 2946.
In November of 2946, Farrister was promoted to Commander and served as XO aboard the UES Halberd, remaining in post for just under 2 years. In 2949, Commander Farrister was transferred to the naval shipyards in Killian for a final posting, before formally retiring with honorable service in 2950.
As part of this decision to retire, Thomas also resigned his leadership position in the USC, opting to enjoy retirement to the full. Much of this retirement was to be spent capitalizing on experience from the Killian shipyards and as a naval pilot, to appraise and review commercially available ships for UEE citizens. And having moved back to New Babbage, this started in 2950. However, this retirement from combat was short-lived, with the Xenothreat invasion of 2951 encouraging Thomas to take arms once again, this time alongside fellow USC citizens to repel the threat. During 2954, having learned from UEE Navy connections that the UES Halberd was decommissioned and due to be scrapped, Farrister led efforts to preserve the ship. Calling on family funds and military connections, this led to the successful acquisition of a second Javelin-class destroyer, once again in need of significant shipyard works. The decommissioned UES Halberd was transferred to Orison, Stanton for the completion of these works. Through 2954, Farrister supported the Citizens for Prosperity in the Pyro system, initially to combat the frontier fighters, and then supporting the Second Life Resource Drive initiative. All the while, he continued to test fly different ships from varied manufacturers, sharing thoughts with a growing audience of interested citizens. So, that's the story so far. Something a little bit different, and hopefully not too much of a self-indulgence. Thank you to the AstroHistorian for lending the most appropriate voice to some of this video as the absolute pinnacle of lore knowledge for Star Citizen. If you're a lore fan, you're probably already aware, but you can find more detailed and far more professional videos at the AstroHistorian and the Astropub on YouTube and the Astropub on Twitch. Thank you also to LensNation for the excellent artwork behind the historic patches. You can find some wonderful cinematic videos at LensNation on YouTube, as well as many beautiful screenshots and artwork on the community hub and across the socials. I hope you might share some of your thoughts on this backstory in the video comments if you got this far, but otherwise, and as always, thank you for watching.